He had 847 photos on his phone. Landscapes, coffee cups, his cat in various positions of sleep, screenshots of things that made him laugh. 4 years of life, documented carefully, and not a single photo of himself, not one he'd kept. There were attempts. The gallery told that story too if you knew how to read deletions. Photos taken in good light when he felt something close to okay about the way he looked. Reviewed, found wanting, removed. He was fast at it. 2 seconds from capture to deletion. The whole process so automatic he sometimes didn't notice he'd done it until the photo was already gone. He told people he just wasn't photogenic, that he hated how he looked in photos, that he preferred being behind the camera. All of this was true. None of it was the whole truth. There is a specific kind of person who lives outside the frame, not because they're shy, not because they're vain, because something happened at some point that taught them the camera was not a neutral device, that being photographed was being caught, that what the lens recorded was evidence of something they didn't want in evidence. They are often deeply observant people. They notice light, composition, expression, the way a photo can make something look different from how it felt. They are frequently the one behind the camera, capturing everyone else, offering this as participation. And no one usually notices the pattern because they're so present in every other way, just never in the frame. Psychologists who work with body image and self-perception describe a specific kind of distorted self-image, not delusional, not irrational exactly, just a gap between how the person looks to others and how they look to themselves. The camera closes that gap in the wrong direction. It shows them themselves as others see them. And what they see looking at the photo is not what others see. They see what they've been trained to see. The training usually starts early. A comment at a specific age, an expression on someone's face, a photo that circulated in a way that felt violating. Or something quieter, a family where appearance was observed and evaluated constantly, where the way you looked was always somehow relevant to how you were received, where the camera made permanent something the person wanted to be temporary. The body learns from these moments, not always consciously. It learns that the camera is a risk, that being photographed is being exposed, that the image, once it exists, can be used, commented on, shared, preserved, in ways that can't be controlled. So the person controls what can be controlled. They step out of the frame. They delete before anyone else can see. They decline with a joke, smoothly, in a way that closes the subject. Here is the cost of this over time. They become absent from their own life's documentation. The people who love them have very few images. The years pass without record. And at some point, often later, there is a grief that's hard to name. Not about the photos themselves, about what the avoiding represents. All the moments not fully inhabited. All the times the managing of the image took precedence over the being in the moment. All the versions of themselves that no one got to see, because they were too busy making sure no one could. There's something else. The avoidance doesn't actually protect the person from being seen. Other people see them constantly. They just don't know what others see. They've made a unilateral decision based on internal evidence that isn't accurate, that what others would see if documented would be the thing they see. It usually isn't. The gap between their self-image and how they appear to others who care about them is almost always wider than they know. But here is what almost no one tells them. The photo is not the self. It is a record of a moment taken from a specific angle in specific light by a specific device. What it doesn't capture is the voice, the way the person moves through a room, the particular quality of their attention. What it doesn't capture is most of what the people who love them are actually responding to. The image is partial. The avoidance of it is total. And total avoidance of something partial means living slightly less than fully. If this was about you, you are not the thing you're afraid the camera will record. You are significantly more than that. The frame cannot hold you, but you are allowed to be in it anyway, imperfectly, partially, in whatever light is available. The record of you, incomplete as it would be, belongs in your own life. It always did. There is something specific about this pattern that most people miss. The person who avoids the camera is often the most visually aware person in the room. They notice light. They notice how others look in photos. They are frequently the one who takes the best photos of everyone else. The eye is trained and genuine. It just never turns on themselves with the same generosity. What they give to others through the lens, attention, care, the effort to capture something true and kind, they withhold from themselves entirely. And there is something worth sitting with in that asymmetry. The standard they apply outward is so different from the one they apply inward. A friend in a photo is seen with warmth, with context, with all the things a static image can't capture. Themselves in a photo is seen as evidence of something fixed, something wrong, something that the deletion can manage but not resolve. The deletion manages it for a moment. The moment passes, and the camera is still there, and the world still wants to document itself, and the figure is still stepping out of every frame. Until they decide one day not to. Not because they've resolved everything, not because the self-image has suddenly corrected itself, but because the partial record is better than no record. Because being in the frame, imperfectly, is still being in the life, and the life is worth being in, all of it, including the parts that get photographed.